John Henry's with us. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, we are, I'm kind of excited about having only 15 things to do today.
Yeah.
Instead of the normal list. I think you have those days too.
We have those days too, yeah. But my goodness, I can only imagine y'all with everything going on right now. I mean, like I said, soccer, volleyball, football, Little League football, or Pee Wee football.
It's crazy.
Amazing stuff.
I had a gentleman stop me at the pit last night. I dropped off the stuff for the volleyball game, and then I was going to head to soccer, and I only forgot two things. But a gentleman came up, and he was asking me if, because I think one of the 8th grade, 9th grade football teams was in Hobbs yesterday.
Right.
And he says, are you going to be streaming that? I said, no, we can't do everything. Right. But we had the Zia choir concert last night, which was held at First Baptist Church. The Estelle Yates Auditorium. They're doing the lighting and the sound and making some other improvements over there. What, as a parent, why not? Well, you were there. Well, you could have streamed it.
Yeah.
Actually, you could use your phone. Yeah, the camera would be all over the place and jumping around. Okay.
Ball went to Braden, made an amazing catch and a good 20-yard run downfield, but all you saw was like the air. But when he caught it and started running,
yeah.
You didn't get to see him catch it in the video.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I get a kick out of like the recreational league football. Monday night there was a pass that was thrown, and you could see the kid slipped on the turf and fell, right? And the ball just dropped right behind him, and it's it's kind of funny to see that. But last night I was at the soccer game, and I was fiddling around with the switcher, and I accidentally hit a reset button. I didn't realize that it hit the reset button, but it reset the whole thing,
right?
And it went to color bars.
Oh.
And then I had to switch to put the camera feed back on. And the people at Goddard are going to be mad at me because at the moment that happened, they were scoring a goal.
It's like all those Super Bowl ads you see, right before, then it's gone.
Yeah, and so you see, we're watching the feed, which is about 2 minutes behind, kind of like instant replay. Well, not instant replay, but it's replay. And sure enough, just as they got ready to hit the goal, the color bars came up, and I promise I did not do that on purpose to do that. But we had that going on. Then Jeffrey was over at the pit with the volleyball, and then Roswell volleyball played last night. Goddard volleyball played last night. Nimmy had a soccer game and a volleyball game. So all of that was going out on the internet last night. So
that's great. You know, it's funny, at the commission meeting yesterday, we were talking about it, and there's even a few folks from Carlsbad that have now, after the Carlsbad game, we had a discussion. They said, I think you and I talked about it on the radio. We could watch that on TV. I said, well, yeah, go to KSVP. It's fantastic. And I think you've got a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot. I don't know what a lot means, but you have a few folks in the county that are now watching the Bulldogs on a regular basis because they said, and they complimented it was amazing. They said, it's amazing how clean the picture is. They really, really were a complimentary of course, Joby and Robbie, how they commentate, which I said, it's really nice to listen to them because they never take it too much.
Right.
They can maybe disagree with the call, and you can kind of tell, but they don't say it, and that's nice, and people like to hear that, and so I'll pass those compliments on from the county and these are Carlsbad folks that are now watching the Bulldogs.
Well, there's always been closet Artesia fans in Carlsbad,
right?
Either from here or they've had a connection there. One year we were doing this was long before video. We were doing radio, and we were sitting in the booth, and the fans were right up to the window. So just right outside the window are some fans, and it's on the home side, so it's on the Carlsbad side. So it's a sea of blue down there. And one gentleman who was standing right in front of the window turned around, and he held up an orange golf tee. And then he put it back in his pocket.
Yeah, there you go. So that's funny. Well, like I always tell them, except for one game of the year, we should be rooting for each other because, my goodness, when we're both successful, it looks good for the whole county and this side of the state. And that's where we like to keep those blue trophies is this side of the state. So
That's where they belong, right?
That's where they belong. Yeah. So rooting for each other is not a bad thing. Just that one Friday, obviously, we're gonna.
Or when the volleyball teams play, or when the baseball teams play, or when the soccer teams play.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Good competition.
The one Friday I should have said that. Now I'll get in trouble.
No.
Anytime we play, obviously that day we're rooting for the one. But
and I told Jeffrey, I said, this is not right. He said, what's that? His volleyball game ended about 2 minutes before the soccer game ended.
Oh. That's a good deal.
So it worked out really well.
So does it make it easier for y'all now that, like, last week was Artesia Roswell, so then you only have to deal with one? Or or do you still have to stream two, sort of, because you got different comment?
We do. We pull the video.
Yeah.
So last week, Roswell Artesia, we had one video crew.
Right.
And then we shared that video with the two broadcasts. So if you pulled up the Roswell High channel, you would hear Art and Kelly.
Right.
And if you pulled up, obviously, the Artesia channel, and then we're going to do the same thing Friday night at Goddard. So we'll be in the two booths, and we'll have two video computers and announcers and everything, but we'll just have one video.
So it makes it a little bit easier, not a ton, but
a little bit, yeah. And so we'll pull the video, and so we're sending Tanner and Paul with Art and Kelly to Las Cruces, because Roswell High plays at Mayfield.
Right.
And then Jeffrey's going with me, and he's going to be part of the video crew with Roy. As a matter of fact, it's going to be basically the same people that we had in Artesia Friday night that are going to be up in Roswell on this coming Friday. And then the following week, we have the big Roswell Goddard game.
Right. Yeah.
And so we'll do the same thing. We'll have one video feed, so it doesn't matter which one you watch, you're going to see the same
thing
video. But on the Goddard channel, you hear Chris and Chris, and on the Roswell channel, you hear Art and Kelly and all that. And then we'll take a couple of people with us to Las Cruces that next Saturday. And then the big weekend for us, this is what we're really excited about, is the first weekend in December 3rd and 4th.
Mm-hmm.
That's the City of Champions basketball tournament. Right. That weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. The Wool Bowl junior college bowl game.
Oh, okay.
At the Wool Bowl in Roswell on Friday night.
Yeah.
And then the New Mexico Coaches Association Red-Green All-Star Games are here at Bulldog Bowl this year on that Saturday. So
I didn't know they had changed it that much. I mean, I still remember
north-south, right?
It was north-south, and it was in the summer. We always had to wait till the summer to play. So I think I like it better that way, sort of, because
they do the All-Star games the week after the state tournament.
Yeah, and that makes more sense to me, because I mean, my gosh, we'd been out of football for a long time, and then we all go up to, and back then it was, gosh, I blanked on the name all of a sudden.
Was it at UNM Stadium?
Eastern. No, it was up at East Portales. For ours.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where ours were. Just what are we? 1A, 2A, 3A, whatever we were.
Small school.
Yeah,
or
the
whatever.
Smaller schools.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Portales, and you'd practice, but you'd been out of football for 3 months, 4 months, however long you're out of football, and so I think this is a safer, but much more interesting way, because now you're still kind of in the football, and
I think they're getting more participation, because by the summertime, a lot of kids have gone off to college or getting ready to go off to college, and they don't want to come back to play one football game. And then the other change they made is that it's not north versus south.
Yeah.
So you could have players from the same team on opposite teams.
Oh, okay.
One on the red team, one on the green team.
Right.
So they kind of mix it up and do all that.
Huh.
So
well,
it's kind of a neat.
It'll be exciting. What a cool honor for Artesia to have that. So,
it was at the Wool Bowl last year, and this year it'll be at the Bulldog Bowl.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest. I think they should play the Wool Bowl at Bulldog Bowl.
Yeah. yeah.
But now that's going to get out. People are going to share that, and the Wool Bowl's fine, but the Bulldog Bowl's just a little.
Well, and I think everyone in the state knows. I mean, it's not bragging. I mean, the Bulldog Bowl, it's
pretty nice.
It's a pretty special place, and I can't remember if I just read an article. It was somewhere I was reading about it where other folks think it's a pretty special thing to. I mean, I played a state championship in the Bulldog Bowl when I was in high school, and to us we would have rather played there than NMSU or UNM, because it was just the Bulldog Bowl, and it's still a great memory for me, and very special honor. So it's a special place, and I think our kids are lucky to get to play there every week, and our fans. I mean, what a great experience.
Sure.
You get to have there
That's
with
right.
room. You can sit. Yeah, a lot of other places you might not get to sit. So,
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I remember when they played up at Ruidoso for a state championship, and
Right.
a bunch of Artesia folks. And the same thing at Los Alamos for a playoff game. A bunch of Artesia people show up,
Yeah.
and they go out and they put their blankets out and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And then people come and say, "You can't sit here." Well, why not?
yeah.
Well, this is our side. I'm looking at my ticket. It says
Yeah.
general admission.
Right.
Show me why I can't sit here.
Yeah.
Well, you just can't. You have
Yeah.
to.
Well, remember Blinn too when we went to that state championship. I mean, our stands
Yeah.
were full.
Yeah.
And I know we stood on the track because that was all that was left, and watched the game from there. So
Yeah.
we fill up a lot of those others. It'd be nice if they were a little bigger, but
Yeah, well, and sometimes they'll have a discussion around the state and they'll say, that's why we need to have the state football championship at UNM,
yeah.
because there's never enough room and fans and blah, blah, blah. And then us down in Artesia, we just kind of raise our hands and say, well, why don't you play it at the Bulldog
Yeah,
Bowl?
yeah, we got room.
We got room.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're in it most times. Just come on down. So, yeah, no, but that's it. That gets real tough because then you've got Roswell and us going up there to play a state championship where those games should be right here, and that's. Let's be honest. It's one of those teams. Most time are going to be in it, if not both in it together.
This year's going to be tough because Roswell, Goddard, Artesia, and Mayfield are all really good.
Yeah.
I think Roswell, Artesia, and Goddard are at one level. Mayfield's just a little bit below, and then you have
Right.
the rest of 5A football. So
Yeah.
it's going to come down to those.
Absolutely.
Page of Vista's in that group, and I think there's one other group, but that's what it's going to come down to.
Right.
Is, how they're going to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
How they're going to draw the brackets. How's
Right.
that going to?
Yeah.
Are we all going to be on the same side of the bracket and eliminate
Yeah.
each other and
Exactly.
and,
yeah.
and play Santa Teresa for the championship?
Right. Well, that's it. I hope they balance those brackets because that is tough. I mean, it's like 1 through 5, like you said, is only one of them's not our district. So yeah, our district's, but it's always that way. I mean, I think our district is pretty well
Yeah.
a tough group.
Right.
Oh,
Well, part of it changed when Los Lunas moved up to 6A in football, so
Yeah.
they're not in this classification, and they won
Yeah.
the state championship last year. And of course,
Absolutely, yeah.
Coach Maupin had built them up, and they
Oh,
were in
yeah.
the championship game for a couple of years before that. So.
yeah. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
It's always exciting.
Well, should we talk about some county commission
I
business?
guess
here?
so. I guess that's what I'm here for. But I enjoy the football talk too. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, we did meet yesterday. I'll be honest, it's probably good we talk about football because it was a fairly light meeting. So not a ton discussed. It was one of those easy ones. Whereas next week, our next meeting is when we'll get all our dollars in and figure out where our JRTs are and everything else. But it was pretty simple. We're fixing one of the ordinances with our fire services. We're trying to do fire inspections, or we are doing fire inspections now. That helps a lot of the businesses in the county speed it up. They're not waiting on the state anymore. Basically, we had to correct our ordinance or change it because the state has updated their from a 2019 to 2021. So we just have to follow the 2021 guidelines. There weren't a lot of changes in it. Jared said it was very simple changes. A few numbers were changed and things like that, but nothing major. And all that does is allow us to continue to do those fire inspections because we're following the same guidelines the state is. So pretty simple ordinance, nothing major changed on that one. Just helps us continue to be able to help people a lot quicker. We set up our canvassing meeting, which I know was a discussion a while back on the canvassing became a big discussion with Otero and all them, but we did set that up. And the way the elections fall, really the very next county commission meeting is that next Tuesday. I think they said that gives us 7 days or so. So falls within that canvassing guideline. So we'll probably just canvass at the next
regular meeting.
Yeah, not have to have a special meeting because usually we run up. It's not a really long meeting, but we usually run up and do it.
I saw something. Is there an opportunity when the voting machines are certified? Is there an
Yes.
opportunity for
Yep.
the public to
And I was going to
observe?
tell you that. I think they should be certifying today, actually. So
Okay.
anybody interested in certifying, I think that's what she said. It's a very long process because Eddy County has so many polling places, and every polling place, I think she said, has 2 machines. So
Each machine has to be certified.
each machine has to be certified. So I think you're looking at, I think she said something like 16 machines. So each machine takes a long time to make sure they're right. So anybody interested in that, that's today. They'll be certifying those. And I know there's been a lot of interest in, and I've said it a million times. I feel very, very secure in Eddy County's votes. I feel very secure about the way we vote in Eddy County. But if you have questions, I mean, today's are the days when you go and watch and see how it's done so that you hopefully can have those questions answered and feel better about it. Because obviously we want our voters, and when you cast your vote, you want to make sure it's right and you feel good about it, because I want you to go vote. And that's my biggest fear, is some people are going to just throw their hands up in the air and say, oh, well, forget it. They don't count. They do count. 100% they count. They don't count when you don't go. So if you don't go, your vote obviously won't count. We have got to have a turnout in Eddy County and Lee County and all those, not just to elect hopefully who we want to elect, but just to show that we're turning out and we care about the election process, and we're interested in it. And whatever way you vote, if you vote for Republicans, you vote Democrats, it doesn't matter. Go vote, cast your vote, know why you're casting the vote, and get it done. So
Now, has anybody presented to the county any information on like the constitutional amendments or the bond questions, or if they have any impact on Eddy County? Like, for example, the I think it's Amendment 2, Constitutional Amendment 2, which is the not hold harmless, the the anti-donation clause.
Oh, right.
Constitutional amendment. Has there been any discussion amongst the commissioners as to the potential impact of that amendment if it passes?
no, not really, but we need to. That's a good point. Is we need to have a lot more discussion on those amendments as we go. So I'll get more information, and we can even talk about it. I mean, as a city next week, we'll make sure we talk about it.
Okay, because that's one of the ones. The first constitutional amendment has to do with the state having access to more of the permanent fund money.
Right.
And the third constitutional amendment has to do with appointed judges serving for a year before they have to run for election or retention.
Right.
But constitutional amendment is the anti-donation clause thing, and that, I'm sure, comes up quite a bit.
Well, and that's
before the city or the county, when people request things to be done or help with things, and immediately you hear, well, anti-donation clause, we can't do that.
That's it. I mean, I know the anti-donation does hamper a lot of, and I understand why it's there to a certain extent, but I do think it's overused quite often as, well, that's anti-donation. Okay. You know, when cities, counties, or whatever are trying to make improvements that improve the city and or county, and the way folks take roads, for example, that's one that always gets thrown in, well, that's anti-donation. You're improving somebody's, well, yeah, but it's going past their land. It's improving the city. It's improving the county. It's making way for more travel, whatever it is doing. And so it is an anti-donation. And so I know there's a lot of area there where there's argument on is it not? And so it would be nice to clear those up. I'm not sure if that's what that does. I'll have to read it and do some more research on it. As far as going into the permanent fund, that is absolutely the worst idea I've ever heard. And there's been some bad ideas come out of Santa Fe. I mean, when they're talking about all the monies they have right now, the permanent fund is there for a reason. That's the protection of New Mexico. And if they start tapping into that and pulling from it, where does it stop? They say, oh, we're just going to take a little. Well, when has the government just taken a little bit when they can get their hands on it? That permanent fund is there for a reason that keeps New Mexico safe. We have money. We have plenty of money pouring into the state right now. I mean, you hear it on a regular basis. Listen to any of them. Both sides are saying how much money's sitting up there. Let's fund things through that. Leave that permanent fund alone, because that's super, super dangerous territory. And I know people say, oh, it's going to go to early childhood. I understand that. But when you start tapping into it and it starts depleting and it's gone, it's gone. They were brilliant when they set that up. Leave it alone.
Well, I think the concern, one, may have been Haley was talking about it Tuesday, and I think the one of the concerns is that the number they want to raise it to takes it above the 5% that is withdrawn from that every year.
Yeah.
I think it was Aaron that made the comment, and of course he's an investment guy.
Yeah.
And you start going above 5% from your investment package.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't keep going up. It starts to go the other direction.
Exactly.
And that's the concern. And so what the amount that they're talking about tapping into it could put us on that path to where instead of the permanent fund growing,
Yep.
it either levels off or starts to shrink.
Yeah.
And I don't think you want that.
No. I think that puts New Mexico in a very bad situation when we start losing that permanent fund. It's
Yeah.
so I have a real hard time anytime, especially when you've got so much money sitting on the table to fund those things properly, if that's what you're so inclined to do.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, that's a last resort. That's a rainy day fund. That's all those, and it's not raining when you have that much sitting on your table ready
Yeah.
to spend. So
Well, I'll be curious to see because I have not voted yet,
Right.
and I kind of have an idea on the front of the ballot, but on these
Yeah.
and the bonds, I think pretty well people understand what the bonds are used for, whether it's
Yeah.
for the senior center projects, senior citizen projects, or the
Yeah.
schools. But these constitutional amendments, we're talking about amending the Constitution, not passing a law that may or may not be signed or may or may not get through a Supreme Court challenge. We're talking about the actual Constitution that we're supposed to govern ourselves with, and we're talking about changing that permanently. And I don't know if we should be so quick to do that.
And that's the thing is, folks, like you said, the front page gets pretty easy for a lot of us. That back page, people don't even think about it till they get there because they're so inclined, I'm going to go vote for, fill in the blank, and they forget there's a whole bunch more on the ballot. And you're able to pull that sample as you have there.
Yeah.
Pull the sample ballot, read through those, ask questions, because, that back page is where the bulk of your studying is going to be. I mean, the front, like I said, you can look at values, you can look at plan, and that's pretty easy is the wrong word, but it's a little easier to navigate that. That back side gets confusing because some of those things you think, well, that sounds good, but then you need to do some research and figure out what does this really mean. So ask those questions, pull that ballot, read through them a few times.
And we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Take a quick break.
Sure.
For news. And I'm sure there's more county commission information to share.
There is.
We'll be